Well, we're at the Clarion Energy News studio, and in studio with me I have a panel of guests. I have to my immediate right Tony Fields of the DLMS Association. Next to him is Ed Beroset from EPRI, and next to him is Paul Sisson from AvanGrid. Nice to have you gents in the studio this morning.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
It's DISTRIBUTECH 2020, and we were talking interoperability. And the first question I want to pose to this panel is, why is interoperability so important in the US? And why has it been so elusive to date?
So interoperability is clearly very important in the US because of the benefits of multi-sourcing. So the option to buy devices from multiple manufacturers, knowing that they will connect to the system and provide the same functionality, speaking the same language, is essential for today's market, especially when we look at the expansion of the grid and the closing of the gap between the AMI infrastructure and other critical national infrastructure. An interoperable standard that allows devices to talk together is a clear need to get the benefits of the expanded grid. And looking at renewable energy and the future of decentralized grids, then this certainly makes clear sense. The other thing about interoperable standards and why they've been so elusive so far is because the current standards that are used in the US have the opportunity to be interoperable, but nobody's really taken up the mantle because nothing forces them to do so. There's no certification platform for the current standard that's used, and with hopefully the introduction of DLMS providing this platform for certification allows interoperability to really be delivered.
Yeah, I'd echo similar. One of the things that comes to mind for me is when we think about something like HTTP, which is a protocol used for delivering web page, and the explosion of all of these interesting, innovative new applications that are built atop that platform. It allows that innovation to actually be delivered into the market. And I think this standardization effort is a similar one. I think one of the reasons that it's been so difficult is exactly what Tony just mentioned, which was that there hasn't really to date been an organization that's taken on the responsibility of doing certification testing, and the utilities are left with not a lot of options as far as being able to find devices that actually interoperate in real life.
Yeah, I would agree with both what Tony and Ed had said. From a global perspective, as our parent company, Iberdrola, they've led the way in implementing DLMS COSM as well as other interoperability initiatives with their prime network as well. Within the US, I see a lot of leverage by having a common open standard across all of the AMI vendors. It'll also give us some influence on how that standard is developed as well. So just want to reiterate what Ed and Tony said as well as that. So.
Thank you, gentlemen. The second question I wanted to pose to this panel is, and this is for Paul and Ed specifically, how do you view the recent publication of DLMS COSM as an ANSI standard, and what benefits do you think it will bring to US utilities?
Well, I think ANSI has been the North American standard for quite a long time. But there's still a lot of proprietary tables within the meters. I think moving to an open standard DLMS protocol or stack will open up these markets so that we can truly have the interchangeability that we need. That'll also put that final application layer to rest as we're working on the physical interoperability as well. It'll complete that picture for us.
Yeah, I would say it's a positive sign. One of the policies of the American National Standards Institute and other similar bodies is to adopt international standards where they're applicable, where they are appropriate, where they're useful. And I think this very easily meets all three of those criteria. So I think it's a very good thing. I was happy to be a part of helping that along.
Thank you, gents. The next question is for Ed specifically. Tell us a little bit more about the work that EPRI have done with DLMS COSM and the US companion specification work specifically.
Well, one of the things we've been doing the last several years is looking at how can we do a better job of addressing this whole question of interoperability in a big picture. And then more specifically looking at the metering protocols, the application layer protocols, and some of the lower layers as well. One of the things that we've done, most recently, 2018, we actually released an open source reference implementation of a DLMS COSM protocol. There are existing open source reference implementations already, but they tend to be the computer end of things. What we decided to do is have one that runs either on a computer or on the embedded side, so it's applicable to real-life meters and small processors. Most recently, what we've been involved with is actually with AvanGrid to try to work out what are the details of a US companion specification to make sure that everything that we need here in North America is addressed. It looks like it's going to be fairly easy to do that. As with all things, it's just a matter of a little work.
Thank you, Ed. And then the last question is for Paul. Could you tell us the reasons for choosing DLMS COSEM for your project?
Yes, I think going back to the global strategy that our parent company, Iberdrola, has initiated, aligns very well in pushing this forward in the US and North America, South America as well. I think partnering with EPRI has been a great decision for us. We're making a lot of progress. The AMI vendors are very cooperative with us, and they really want to help us see DLMS COSEM developed for the marketplace as well, which is surprising. In the past, I don't think we would have seen that kind of acceptance. So I think a little nudge from the utilities and other customers can help the market transform.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, that's all the time we have for this morning, and we appreciate you being part of this panel. Until the next time.